Tim Mellon, head of boarding at Sexey School, helped 2 boarding schools to go from inadequate to good. And he's also a sports coach. Thanks for coming on to the Polo Lam Experience to share your experience and what you are up to other educators around the world. So let's start with a tradition that we have here, which is some quick fire questions by ChatGPT. So just to know a little bit more about you, little bits, personal things by ChatGPT. Yep. Are you ready?
I'm all ready.
Let's go. Okay. So first question. Early bird or night owl?
Oh, night owl, 100%. I can't do it. I can't do anything before 8 a.m.
You're like me. You're like me. I couldn't do it. Well, I wasn't like that, obviously, when I was at school, because I had to wake up. But then, ever since school, I just can't wake up that early. So,
yeah, I can't. I'm definitely work better at night. 100%.
Okay. Grass or AstroTurf?
Oh, grass. Absolutely.
You got good pleasure. Me too. I miss the grass in the UK. Here it's all AstroTurf.
Grass tennis courts all day long.
Okay. Nice. Breakfast or tea time?
Breakfast, absolutely.
Individual. Sorry. Go on. Keep going.
No. Love a full English breakfast. Yeah.
British.
For sure. Brunch on a Sunday in boarding. Honestly, people often say to me, "What's the most important thing you've changed?" I'm going to say that brunch on a Sunday is one of the most important things I brought in.
Nice. And the Sunday roast as well, maybe?
I've slightly moved away from that every week, but once a month we rotate around a bit more just because of the different cultures we've currently got. So we're a bit more flexible about that. But Sunday brunch is always a staple, 100%.
All right. Okay. Interesting to know. Individual or shared dorms?
Shared dorms. Well, a few individuals, but mostly shared. We really value community and like social aspect of boarding, as well as studying and get grades is obviously important, but having that social interaction is really important for us.
Well, we definitely have to go more into that. International or day pupils?
So obviously, being a state school in England, technically they're all British or they have a right to reside in the UK. But we have a whole spectrum of people from all around the world. We probably have more boarders currently from Bermuda than any other country. Randomly, we have people from the Seychelles, Norway, France, Italy, lots of Nigerian-based boarders. So yeah, a real mix.
Right. Okay. Nice. Strict or flexible rules?
If it's not a health and safety concern or it's not a safeguarding concern, I'm going to offer flexibility.
Okay. Nice. Academic or sports? I know that one.
For me personally, sport will always be at the top of my list, 100%. Yeah.
Weekend, cinema or paintballing?
Oh, paintball activity, absolutely.
You're an action guy.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah, got to get out and do stuff for sure.
That probably made up 80% of my bowling time, just action, like doing stuff.
I say to most parents, there's no secret to it. We want people to be tired, so we want to keep them as busy as we can. So weekend and evening activities are a real big thing for us. Actually, wear them out as much as we can.
Nice, great. So Tim, thank you so much for being on the podcast. This is a very special episode because, as you know, I was a boarder at Dallin, and that was 7 years of my life, and it was state boarding school as well. So yeah, they're special. I mean, they're not very common, and some people don't even know that they exist. Funny enough, right? So
absolutely, I still show people around quite regularly who have never been to one before, or only have visited for the first time because they just didn't know that existed. There's currently I think there's 29 now in the UK.
Less.
Yeah, there's going to be 28 soon, and there's another one near us closing their boarding. So there's going to be another one go down. So yeah, not many.
Okay, exactly. So yeah, it's a special one because it's really close on my heart because I know this problem by speaking to those who are in charge right now and Dallin, and they've told me about all these problems. And yeah, now when I saw your post on LinkedIn, obviously, it caught my eye. I was like, okay, so how are you guys doing so well? Despite all the problems with Brexit and COVID and more
It's
things
not.
that are coming, right?
It's not been easy. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like when I joined Sexy, so this is my
Well, yeah.
third. This is my third state boarding school I've worked at. So I've worked at 3 state boarding schools, but my third year at Sexy's. And it hasn't been easy to grow the numbers, to grow the program. Obviously, with Brexit, COVID, was a big thing. But fortunately, I was overseas during the COVID times in the UK, so I didn't have to worry about that so much. But it's been difficult. I'll be honest. Like geographically, it helps where we're based. Being in the southwest of England seems to be a hot spot for where people have friends and family or people. Because obviously from a guardian point of view, you have to have someone who you can go and stay with at Exeat's half term, week and stuff like that. So the fact that we're in the southwest seems to be quite a good area for people who have friends or families. That's been a good big thing for us. Okay. I think generally being a lot more flexible to parent people's needs has been a big selling point for us. We really value the fact that if someone wants to board for 2 days a week, we'll let them board for 2 days a week. If they want to board for 3 days, they want to board for 3 days. Okay. If they want to change their days, we're gonna try and be flexible, because I think that's what parents need now with work commitments, life, family. We're desperately trying to be a lot more flexible about what we offer.
That is a very interesting one, actually, because obviously I've heard a lot about the debate around 4-day work or even just 100% remote hybrid, and everyone arguing about, okay, great, you can have the staff working less, but then what about their children and the families, which are a lot, right? Make up a lot of the workforce. You can't really have just flexible working for the adults, and then the children don't have the same thing, right? So that is a very interesting entry point I've never thought about.
And actually, lately I've been noticing a lot more of the independent sector who generically in the past would have been quite it's weekly boarding or full-time boarding. Yeah. I think more people are looking at flexible boarding and how that can work. I know when we first started it, we were going to offer like 10, 15 spaces just as a token local thing for local families to be part-time boarding or flexible boarding, whatever you want to call it. Yep. And I reckon now we could probably have 150 part-time boarders if I wanted to be all flexible boarders, because there's that much of a demand for people to just board for a couple of nights a week, or 1 night a week, or 3 nights a week. There's a real demand for that. So I generally think schools, if they're not looking at that, will look at that a lot more moving forward.
How has it changed in terms of the management and obviously system and processes? Would you say, was it really hard to adapt to this demand?
Not massively. So we just opened another house and called that the part-time or the flexible boarding house. And so we had set staff in that house. And effectively, our program doesn't differ. It's the same package to whether you're a full-time boarder or a part-time boarder or a flexible boarder. Mm-hmm. Truly, the only difference is the number of nights you sleep. And we're very clear on that we want it's the same package if you board for 7 nights a week or if you board for 2 nights a week. And we've tried to not make that different. Because it's just one package. It's just a question of how many nights you sleep.
Nice. You haven't had any headaches of thinking, okay, what was this kid missing? Is he supposed to be in? Is he supposed to be back out?
Oh yeah, for sure. There are a lot more logistical issues around making sure you account for everyone and make sure, because we're flexible, someone might say, do you know what, I'm not going to board tonight, which is fine, but you have to make sure all the staff know that and all the appropriate staff know that. So yeah, there's a lot more paperwork involved and stuff like that. But actually, I think that's just the way boarding is going to go, and you have to offer people that. Flexible model. For sure, and actually our parents have really embraced that.
I'm even thinking wow, we're turning boarding house to like Spotify, Netflix subscription. No, it's amazing.
Well, yeah, slightly like that. Yeah, you can choose what nights you want to do. You can choose how many activities you want to do. You can choose. Effectively, it's becoming a lot more like that. It's certainly, in my time in boarding anyway, it's a lot more customer focused than probably it used to be. I think when I first started in boarding, it was like, these are our rules, this is the way we do it. You have to fit into our system. It's not like that so much anymore. There'll still be schools that are probably like that, but I don't want my schools to be like that. I want us to be that school that isn't like that and actually offers flexibility and offers freedom for people to work it how they want to work it.
Beautiful. I love it. I mean, I've already got one of your keys your secrets, and I haven't even gone to my first question, which is
and you know what? And you know what? I'm pretty open about it all. I'm pretty transparent. You know, I know I'm fairly fortunate that I know quite a lot of people in boarding. I'm quite happy to talk about it, and there is no secrets because it's about all of us working together, right? Because, like, I know obviously you went to Dalham. Dalham's not. Are they a competitor for us? Not particularly, because it's a whole different ball game, different part of the world, different part of the country, different options.
Quite far away,
so like, I'm pretty happy to chat about wrestling boarding. I don't see it as one big secret. It's all on our website, effectively. So
anyone who wants to really learn, they can.
Absolutely, they can.
I love that spirit of for your flexibility, not only in the model and the customer focused model, but also sharing your knowledge, right, to other similar schools around the UK. Thank you, Tim, for that. One of the main questions I want to ask you before we even dig deeper into it is who are you and what is your dream?
Well, I always wanted to be a professional football player, if I'm being truthfully honest.
That's me as well. I can relate.
I did all right. Who am I? Do you know what? I was asked this question the other day. I'm just a tennis coach by trade. That's what I started off as a youngster, and I pretty much taught tennis for most of my life up to when I was like 29, I didn't really know what a private school or a state school was, boarding school was, to be perfectly honest. And I fell into the world of working in a boarding school, and I realised, God, there's a big wide world out there. And through hard work and determination, I've worked my way up to director of tennis, pretty high in a big independent school in Berkshire. Did really well there, and then decided that I wanted to master and conquer boarding. And I've worked around. I've worked internationally. I've worked around the UK, and I found myself here. But truthfully, I'm just a sports coach who works really hard.
Nice. My head of boarding when I was at school was he was a very sporty guy. It was a military. He had a military background. It's quite a bit. He's retired now, obviously. And he was very sporty. He was like I was there, he was 60 something, and he was playing football with us. Imagine.
Yeah.
That was crazy. We were all like an hour, every time. It was playing as if he was 20. And I'm like, how does he do it? Everyone's like, how? Sporty head of boarding. It seems to be a trend.
Sport and boarding will always be a good mix, teamwork, camaraderie, hard work ethic, all that kind of things. So it kind of matches quite well, doesn't it, sport and boarding? I know when I try and recruit staff, I always look for someone who's got some sports. Yeah, for sure. Like, you don't always get them, but I'm always looking for someone like that who can engage students, from a sporting context or some form of physical activity. It's always high on my list of staff priorities.
How did dreaming about becoming a footballer to becoming a tennis coach, how did that come about?
Unfortunately, my family owned the local tennis club in the little village that I grew up in, Essex. So I'd always played tennis, so that was just an easy thing for me to fall into. Was naturally quite good, and decided that school after finishing college, and I did like a Camp America thing in America many years in like the early 90s.
Okay.
And did tennis, and that my love of tennis carried on from there really, and came back to England, trained to become a tennis coach, and just spent most of my early 20s just coaching tennis. That was it. And then literally was coaching someone at a weekend at someone's house, and he happened to be a head teacher of the local independent school, and he said, "Oh, would you like to come and coach tennis at our schools?" And then that's how I started, and then that was it.
Lovely story.
Yeah, and then I started coaching tennis at that little school, and then moved up to a bigger school, and then so on. Yeah.
Wow. So just things. Well, things happen when you work hard, as you say. Like I can really relate to that. I mean, boarding, as we're always talking about this, right? On this podcast, has given me something like this. So how did I ended up in Tenerife, for example? Long story of me being at the boarding house and meeting loads of Spanish people. Suddenly, one year to another, it was like before there were like maybe one Spanish person, and then suddenly they launched a program. Dalham launched a program where Spanish students would go there during the end of the summer term because here they finish earlier, so they can go and do like an exchange for a month.
Yeah.
At Durham. And then I started meeting all these Spanish people, and I was like, wow, these people are crazy and fun, and I don't know what they're talking about, but they seem like they're always happy and partying and whatnot. So at that point, I was already like, oh, I need to study Spanish so I can understand what they say. And then I started studying Spanish. I made, obviously, quite a few Spanish friends. And then I was thinking, oh, one day I would like to live there in Spain, see what it's like. And then I went on holiday to visit one of my friends, and he introduced me to his neighbors. And then from there, I managed to do au pair with his family during one summer at university. And from there, the father happened to create this company, a startup that was related to VR. And then I asked him, okay, can I work for you during my placement year at university? He was like, yeah, sure. And then I ended up living in Madrid for a year, and so on and so forth. And now I have a business creating virtual reality content for the education sector. So yeah, crazy how one thing can lead to another, just, a bit of hard work and chance, right?
And I think that's one of the benefits of probably being in a boarding school, either independent or state, is those opportunities. And it isn't just about the academics or the sport. It's about it's about those friendships you make and the opportunities you get from that, right? I've met so many people through the times I've worked in boarding, more than I ever met through when I taught tennis, for example. You just meet so many people, don't you? Get so many opportunities. Like at the start of this in April, I was in Bermuda. In my wildest dreams, did I ever think I'd be sitting in Bermuda marketing in a school? I'm like, no, I didn't. But you just, that's just how it evolves, isn't it? You meet people and you move on, don't you? And you. So yeah, it's great. The opportunities you get are endless. And I think you're probably, I guess, from our short time talking, that you are a testament to what state boarding is really like. That if you throw yourself into it, because obviously at the start it's always hard having difficult conversations and making friends, but if you throw yourself into it and thrive, the opportunities are endless.
100%. I met a lot of shy friends, who were like really to themselves. But somehow they blossom out throughout the year. You don't even need 2, 3, 4 years. Just throughout the year, you see how one can become out of the shell. I have cases where I know some of my friends who literally spoke zero English, and somehow, after, obviously, as a group of friends, we encourage, okay, even though you don't understand exactly what we're saying and we speak really fast in English, one day you're going to get it. And through, body language and just sports and activities, and suddenly a year after, you find them talking fluently, doing presentations, in front of classes, and completing, obviously, their IB or A-levels. So yeah, it really can transform a person, literally.
Absolutely. I think because I've worked in the independent sector, don't get me wrong, but I think the state sector, because there's such a diverse array of people from different backgrounds, because you still have the catchment cohort of students who join your school who live locally. So to be amongst a whole load of different people really makes you have to come out of your shell, doesn't it, and interact with so many different people. And I think that's truly one of the advantages to some of the state schools I've worked at, that there is such an eclectic mix of students. You really get a whole broad sense of how you need to act in different situations and different environments.
You become so dynamic, right? You become
for sure
so much more dynamic and flexible.
I was referring to one boy yesterday that he's a bit like a chameleon. He can fit into any social group because he's learned that skill, that he can go and hang out with the sporty people, or he can go and hang out with the academics, or he can go and hang out. And that's a skill he picks up by being in the environment he's in. You don't just learn that. It's by being in that environment, isn't it?
And you can see it happening. Yeah, observing
for sure. Even. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That leads me to the next question. Tell me everything about Sexey School. Where is it? How many people are there? Why is it so special? Tell me everything.
Sexey's was opened in 1891 by someone called Hugh Sexey, who opened a hospital in the town of Bruton where we're in. So we're in Bruton, which is in Somerset in the southwest of England. Currently, Bruton is deemed the Notting Hill of the southwest. So there's lots of it really is. So there's lots of affluent people around, a few celebrities around and stuff like that. So it's quite a popular place to live and be around. So who's just moved into the village? Benedict Cumberbatch, for example, lives just down the road from me. So
No way.
yeah,
Seriously?
yeah. Before they bought a house just down the road. So
Yeah.
they're filming a Netflix series in one of the old schools currently just down the road. So yeah, it's a beautiful place, but random. It's a quite a posh little village at the moment. But so yeah, Sexey is a state school within that. There used to be There used to be 4 schools in the little town. There's an independent boys' school called an independent mixed school called King's Bruton. There used to be an all girls boarding school called Bruton School for Girls, which closed 18 months ago now. And then there's obviously a local primary school. So it's quite a school heavy little town. But yeah, quiet, not too much to do, but not too far away from, like, you can get a direct train to London in an hour 45 minutes. You can be in the coast in an hour, so it's quite geographically well placed for Bath, Bristol, Exeter, stuff like that. So the school, we're a state school. We have students from age 11 to 18. We currently have around 750-ish students on roll. With 750. I think we're 753 maybe ish today, or maybe
Is
yesterday.
that day and boarding?
Day and boarding with around 174-5 boarders, mixture of part-time.
That's quite a lot.
Yeah.
At peak time at Dowden, we only had like 120, and that was peak time. That was when before Brexit, and there were like loads of.
So we have 2 boarding houses. One's currently a full-time house. One's currently a part-time / flexible house. We're about to open a 3rd house for this coming September, which will be a year 7 only house. I think we've learned over the last probably 2 or 3 years that I think we used to think the jump from like year 12 to 13 to sixth form, to university was a big jump. But we've slightly changed tack that the jump from year 6 primary school to year 7 is a much bigger jump. So we're opening a year 7 only house to give them a year in boarding to get used to it, and then move them up into the mixed age houses after year 7.
The senior school almost, right? Like the year 7, it's like, okay, take your baby steps and play with each other.
Absolutely. I think those, if I was to be truthful, when people say who struggled the most in boarding in the last year, probably the new year 7s. It's a big jump. So we're going to try and give them a year's grace to get accustomed to it and acclimatise to boarding before they move up to the other houses.
That's interesting. I mean, for me, definitely I agree with what you said about the jump from sixth form to uni. I don't think it was a big jump at all. I felt like I'm way more prepared than normal kids.
I feel like some of our year 13s, if they can't do their own washing now and can't cook or whatever else, then there's probably no chance when they go to do the next bit. So we're definitely trying to help the younger ones. And then truthfully, you can mold them better, can't you? If you help them when they're younger, you can mold them to how you want to be and help them on the journey.
And also, obviously, make them want to stay and say, experience.
Yeah, ideally, we sell it as a 7-year package. We don't, I know obviously Dallin gives Dallin experience and do a lot of 1-year things for the kids historically. We're very much that we want people to stay for 5-7 years. There's a cohort of people who don't always stay for sixth form, because if they've done 5 years, that's quite a long time. But we definitely want them to be a part of a 7 year. We definitely sell it as a 7-year journey.
Nice. That's definitely like, I feel like I had the best of Down because I stayed long, like the whole 7 years. I was there and I got to experience every single stage. And not only that, I became so integral in a community that I was able to start helping the younger ones. So I was never there's sometimes you get schools where you have or even just students themselves where they go, oh, I'm a 16-year-old, so I'm not going to talk to you. You're an 11-year-old, right? So that happens sometimes. But then for me, it was the other way around, because I lived through all the stages. So I was thinking, I'm a sixth former now. Like I should be helping the little kids, like talk to them. How are you? What's up? How are you doing, right? In your new life in boarding, and with all these older boys and girls around you. And I happen to think, because I was I wasn't sold at any point the 7 years experience. It was just the fact that I lived through that journey, and I was able to help the younger kids, and I believe that that's very important for a school who wants to sell.
Oh, for sure. there's no coincidence at our school. The ones who've been here the longest are the ones that support the other ones the most. Absolutely. We have a couple of boys who've been here since year 7 who are now in year 13. They're the ones you go to, like, oh, can you just have a word with so-and-so? Can you? Because they're the ones most engaged. It's just, I guess it's just how it is. You know, if you're, I think if people join for sixth form and they're there for that sixth form process, right, just to get the good grades.
Get to the uni.
Yeah, those who join in year 7 and see the whole process, they're just a bit more engaged in the whole thing, aren't they? So, yeah, absolutely. And I think that's why we try and sell the 7-year program, because you want that level of engagement all the way through, don't you? You want, you know, currently, one of our greatest strengths, without a shadow of a doubt, is our sense of community within boarding. That like both our houses are mixed age houses. There's boys and girls. There's people from year 7 to 13 in both our houses, and they all get on like super well. And like, if you're the best table tennis player, then you're year 7. The year 13s are going to play you. There's no separation. There's no like. Yeah, there's no like sixth form, just do this, and year 10, just do this. And we all mix together, and actually, that's a really great thing for us. But, you know,
it's the best thing. I remember. Yeah. Imagine if there were like this age separation thing. I would not have played as much football as I did when I was in year 7, because I was definitely playing with the older kids all the time, because I was like one of the only 2 year 7 kids that was that morning. So obviously, I had to play against older kids. And they'd never mind, you know.
And as you know, I think a lot more schools now are looking at the mixed housing model as well, rather than that. There's still obviously some state boarding schools that are just have a girls' house or a boys' house,
yeah,
which is fine. But I think in order to create a better sense of community, you need to probably mix it a bit more. And like, truthfully, I know it's in context of every school. And like, I know I'm talking about my school, you talk about Dallin, but in the context of my school, it is without doubt one of our strongest assets that we are a mixed age houses. A mixed gender, and everyone just gets along like one big kind of like slightly dysfunctional family.
Yeah, 100%. Talking about that, about the best thing about Sexey school. So we were at the beginning. We were already, you know, we went into a little bit about the fact that there are many problems in growing in competition and lower birth rates, even wars, Brexit. I don't know. VAT will affect the boarding schools or no?
100%. Well, independent schools, yes. There's a grey area whether that's going to affect state schools currently.
Okay, so we don't know yet. Despite all these things, how apart from the flexible model that we already mentioned, how else would you say Sexey school has been able to grow and, you know, build another place for the year 7s that we were just talking about?
Well, community is a big thing for us. Obviously, Bruton is a town, but it's a relatively small town. We've moved away from the model that we have our own, like, we have school sports teams, don't get me wrong, but we've moved to the model that we push our borders to join the local teams. So we have local, like, cricket, football, hockey, golf, rugby, dance, gymnastics. There's all those local clubs in the community, and we've really pushed hard to link in with those. So we now take boarders to the clubs rather than try and run our own club and like not do it probably quite as well as we could do because we're low on staff or low on numbers. We actively push all of our boarders, if they want to go and join local clubs. And on a weekend, for example, when it's football season, probably 50% of our boarders are off playing for local teams, and you know, off they go sign out in the morning and get picked up by a parent from a day school child who we've linked in with them. And actually that's been a real strength for us lately, that our community-based sports project, because don't get me wrong, there'll still be some schools that do their own sports every night. We still run sports. We run our own sports program. We do indoor football in the evening, but there has to be an extra step from that. It can't just be that our boarders play indoor football every night. That's great, but like, what's the next step from that? The next step has to be that they go and play for a team, and it can't be that they're a boarder, they can't play for a team. But so we've really pushed that our boarders go and play for teams. So we've linked in with all the local teams. And it's been really great that all of our boarders go off and play rugby, cricket. You know, like we have one boy from Bermuda currently who's just been put forward for Somerset cricket trials, and that's only because we pushed him to join the local cricket club. He's obviously a lot better than that local cricket club, and truthfully, if he does really well and gets picked up and goes on to whatever level of cricket he wants, we've helped that journey. I just think it's really important from a school point of view, whatever journey that boarder wants to go on, that we help them get on that. That we support them onto whatever that journey. And I think by linking people with whatever they want to do is just a part of that. We have some sixth formers who go to local martial arts, karate, and I know it's as simple as us arranging transport for them and one of our members of staff jumping in the school car and driving 10 minutes down the road. But it's simple things like that you can do that make such a difference.
I love that. I absolutely love that, because I can already see that chain effect of, as you say, you're pushing your borders. Always the ambassadors, right? The ambassadors of the school. You're pushing them into the local community where they're going to talk to other people. And if they see that they're doing great and they're happy, and they start making friends, and then the families get to know them, and suddenly you think, oh, maybe my boys or my girls wants to join the school at X level, as a boarder, as flexi boarder, whatever it is, right? So that I can already see that model.
And it works really well, because I reckon I have more requests from boarders going to stay at friends' houses now, than we've ever had. Like historically, yeah, you allow someone to go and stay at their house, but like truthfully, it's every now and again that you'll get a token, can I go and stay at such and such's house? But actually, probably have 10, 20, 30 every couple of weeks of boarders who go out and stay with their friends, which is a really great thing. It should be like that. It should be a seamless transition from boarding to day school. It shouldn't be two separate things, and generally it's not two separate things here. Like we're very trips at weekends. Like we put on a trip every weekend, a big trip. We went fishing. Like randomly, we went fishing last weekend, but the week before we went to Thorpe Park. But we invite the day school, day school pupils are welcome to join.
Hey, love that. I love that.
It's not just a boarding thing; it's a school program. So if we're going to watch Somerset play cricket next week, if we haven't got after half term, if we don't have enough tickets, we offer it out to we don't have enough people sign up, we offer it to the day school and we fill it up, and then the day school feel part of our boarding program and vice versa. I think that's the key thing.
And it should be, right? You're right. I mean, I didn't really get that. I mean, that was a long time ago, but these are some elements that I could see why it's working very well with you guys. The boarding part and the stay school was quite separate.
But I guess the difference for you at Dalham, I've only been to Dalham once, but obviously the boarding is somewhat away from the school.
Okay.
So it's hard. Yeah, it's a physical, absolutely. As our boarding is on the same site as our school.
Okay.
So it's a lot easier. So it's a bit more context. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's a bit more in context of the school. But yeah, we really value the fact that we want if a day student wants to be involved in boarding, even that's just a trip, and even our part-time boarders. If you board on Monday and Tuesday, but you want to come and join the trip on a Saturday, yeah, of course you can. Yeah, of course you can. You just get your parents just drop you off, or you pay for an extra night. Yeah. We're still going to be flexible around all those things. And don't get me wrong, it makes more work for my team to arrange. Like I'm talking like I arrange all these things, but it makes it more difficult for my team to organise. But that's just the right thing to do.
Nice. No, I really like. We talked about the flexible model, and then this as well, the community, getting the boarders in the community, supporting them, each one of them as individuals into shining, basically into who they should be. I can see it. I really can see it.
But don't get me wrong. A price point will always be a factor. But I very much I appreciate the state schools are a lot cheaper than the independent school. Yeah. But I very much see it as this, that the cost of boarding in a state school, whether it be my school or Dalham or Wyndham in Norfolk or Cranbrook, wherever it may be, the cost of boarding, if you split boarding and education as two separate things, the cost of boarding at a state school is probably no different if you split it in an independent school to the cost of how much it costs to go to someone in boarding. So I very much see it as boarding is the same in every school, whether it's state school or independent, because you're still paying for that product, aren't you? The education side, which is free, it's just a separate thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
As well, I think a lot of people think, oh, well, you're a state school, education's free, that they think boarding will be different or it won't be as good. But boarding is as good because it's still the same model as it is in every other school. It's a separate thing, isn't it? Education and boarding have to be seen separate.
That is a very key point. Because when I tell people here in Spain about the wonderful boarding experience, whatever, and I tell them I actually went to a state school, and people are like, what, a state school? Isn't this like a very fancy, posh and private and you have to pay loads of money? And I'm like, no, you pay for the boarding and the school is separate, but we had like wonderful facilities still, and they wouldn't believe it. We had an AstroTurf. I mean, like here, like not even the private school have an AstroTurf. So it was like a shopping mall for them. We had swimming pool at one point, even.
Yeah, and we have all that. We just don't have it on the vastness of some of the big independent schools. Like we have tennis courts, we have full pitches, we have swimming pool, we have indoor facilities. Mm-hmm. We just don't have numerous of those.
Yeah, I guess you.
And and I will still say that I see boarding as a private business. Like split the two in half. Education is one thing, boarding is another. I very much see. I'm not saying that that's any different than any other school, but I very much see myself as the person that runs that business side of our school. That boarding is a business is a separate thing to education. Mm-hmm. They link together, and education is free in a state school. But my job is to make sure the part that people pay for is as good as everyone else as it can be.
Love that. I love that. Where did you get that business spirit from? From tennis coaching and even in a board. Like, there's nothing business related, really, right? Like as a saying, the role.
Yeah, there's not, like, truthfully, like, I feel really fortunate that the opportunities I've had, that some of the schools I've worked at and the places that I've been, I feel really fortunate to. And I never thought I'd be in that position when I was younger. I'm just from a small little village in Essex. I didn't really, truthfully, I played sport and did all right, but I just want people to have the opportunities that one I've had or I didn't have. I just think it's a really important thing that we should give everyone the opportunity to be the best they can be. And from a business side, I don't know. I just want it to be the best that I can be. I want to prove people wrong. I want to prove people that, like, I wasn't just a tennis coach, and that I could be. I am good at what I do, so I have a real drive and determination to succeed in everything I do.
Absolutely. I love your spirit.
Absolutely. I think it's really important.
Well, what is the one thing you would say that you love about boarding? The one thing.
The one thing I love about boarding the most, without doubt, the sense of community between the staff and the students. We work really hard to bridge the gap between academic staff and boarding staff, and Sexey, that's really great that we'll get on together, we'll work together for a greater good. The one thing I love the most is about that. I think it's really important that you give people opportunities to be whatever they want to be, whether that's academic, sporting. And I say this a lot to people. Roger Federer was a beginning tennis player once, right? Yep. Anyone, you can be whatever you want to be, but we need to give people those opportunities to be that. So my greatest thing is that I want people to have opportunities. I want people to leave, however long they stay with us for. I want them to leave in a better position than when they joined us. And truthfully, whatever that may be, I'm all right with, as long as they leave in a better place.
Have you had any alumni coming back to you after a few years and say, "Hey, Tim, I've done great," and because
more from previous schools that I've worked at? I'm still in contact with lots of people from other schools that I've worked at. Absolutely. I guess I haven't been at Sexey long enough for too many people to come back. But I've had people who leave and come back, and it's great to chat and catch up. But some people that from previous schools, I keep in contact. Because again, that's a really important part of boarding, right? That you keep in contact with people, and that you engage with people, and you watch their journey and still help them join. Don't you? I actually employed. I'm not that I'm going to say how old I am, but I actually employed someone at Sexey's that I used to teach. Terrible.
As a tennis coach, or as
I was the lady that I employed as assistant house parent. I used to be her tennis coach at one of the schools I worked at.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, that is funny. That's funny.
Terrible.
We there's another thing. Like, I don't think there are many, or if there are any, boarding schools that have set up like an alumni network kind of thing. I guess that could be.
We do have one. We do have one, but like that's run by our marketing department lady, and she kind of manages that. But they do. We have a unique game at Sexey's called Squares. Truthfully, Polo, I don't know how you play it, but like it's a ball game played within a square, and we have lots of year groups come back regularly to come back and play that. I showed the class of 1984 round recently, and I gave them a tour of all the school and like showed them around, showed them in the bedrooms they used to be in. But truthfully, all they wanted to do was play this game, and they didn't. This group of 25 men just played this game for hours on end on a Saturday afternoon, and they truly loved it. So we invite people back to come and play this unique game called Squares.
Lovely. No, it should happen more often. To bring. You never know who can bring opportunities back to the school as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, I believe it's a very important thing. Like if Dallin was to call me, I've already told them many times to go and I don't know, do a talk or a speech or just have people asking me questions, that kind of thing. I will happily do it. Like honestly, like, I cried on my last day, so that's how much I loved.
But I'm gonna get in there first and invite you to come to my school to do a talk. Don't worry.
Okay. I'm open. Hit me up. No problem. Yeah, about boarding, about it being an international student, all of that. I lived it, so yeah, it's an easy job for me, really, to do that. So, last question for you, then. Last question: what is your next objectives for you and for the school, for boarding? What was your next step?
For school, obviously, we need to get to outstanding for Ofsted. That'll always be a good thing for us. To go where we were from to where we are now has been great, but we want to take that final journey and get to outstanding. I know it's just a compliance point of view, but like,
how do you get, like, I've always wondered, what are the criteria exactly, like, to get from good or bad to good to?
Well, I'd always say to get to outstanding, you have to create a much greater sense of community between the whole school. And how you do that is a very subjective thing.
And that's what I'm still going to do.
Yeah. I'm still working on that because it's really hard to bridge the gap between school, academic, boarding. But I think to get to outstanding, obviously you have to maintain all the standards that you have. But yeah, a greater sense of community is always a great thing. A greater sense of opportunities. You have to show that you. Well, I'm working really hard on showing that we develop everyone's characteristics as an individual, not just as a boarding group. That we track and monitor everyone's individual progress. So we're doing a big thing about that, about the individual, hoping that gets us to where we need to get to from an Ofsted point of view. So that's a good thing from the school point of view. We're trying to develop. Obviously, we still want to develop our boarding provision. We're going more flexible, but that we're nearly at capacity. That without building a fourth house, which we probably haven't got capacity to go to, we'll be around 234, 235 boarders in September this year.
Amazing.
We've probably only got capacity to get to 250, maybe 260, and that's us done. We don't want to spend millions on building more houses. So
you end up having more boarders than day students.
Yeah, so we'll be at capacity, and that'll be a great thing because I don't think the school's been at capacity for a number of years. So that'll be a really great thing for that from that point of view. Oh, but again, offering more opportunities, and again. Our opportunities that we offer aren't just us randomly saying we're going to put football on or we're going to do that. Listening to our students, listening to our parents, and figuring out what they want to do and what they want to achieve, and working really hard on that. We go big on a Wednesday now. We don't do prep every night anymore. So like, I'm not saying homework's not important, but we don't do prep on a Wednesday. We do enrichment where everyone has to sign up for a 6-week course of a club, be that student first aid or student mental health awareness or cricket coaching or gardening club or something, some extra skill. So we're continuing to grow that program, which is really important to give people more knowledge. Not just. I love the fact that people want to play sport or do hang out with their friends or do some art or drama in the evenings, but I want there's something to be tangible to come from that.
Okay.
So
cooking clubs.
But cooking club, but actually where they get a certificate or they get something from that which they can take with them. I want people to have the next step that helps them. So we're pushing that hard. Again, from a staffing point of view, helping the staff push on as well. Like, truthfully, if my staff do 2 or 3 years and move on to better jobs, that's a good thing for us. It shows that we've helped them develop. So not only develop the individual characteristics of our students, but also of our staff is a big. How
many staff do you manage or have at boarding?
16, 17. So I run all the boarding. Yeah, I run all the boardings team, the domestic team, the boarding, and also overseeing the healthcare centre, and also liaise with marketing and mission quite a lot as well. So, I cover quite a lot of different areas.
You're like the business guy, as you said.
Well, do you know what I think? I think the most important thing, when we go back to your original question, why are we doing so well? Yeah. And it isn't about me, but I'll use me as an example. I feel it's the most important thing that we've pushed hard on is that the person that someone sees when they tour the school or they phone up to talk to or they do a Skype interview or Zoom interview, when someone wants to talk about joining our school, that person has to be the person that the person they meet at the end of that journey.
Love that. Love that.
So I generally want to be that face of that person that if you were talking to me about your son or daughter joining, that the day you turn up, that person you spoke to is standing there right there in the door. So you have that, their parents feel like you've listened to them and you've been part of that whole process. I found in the past, and again, it's in context of a different school. I'm not saying that people shouldn't have marketing departments and X, Y, and Z, but for us, I found the fact that I'm the person that shows them around the school. I'm the person that talks to them. I'm the person that interviews them, and then I'm the person that's there with my team when they join. Is a really good, is a really important factor for us.
It's a good marketing tool in itself.
Yeah, like yeah, absolutely. Like when I go to Bermuda or Kenya, wherever I might go to market the school, if I'm talking to a parent and they're asking me a question about boarding, I'm giving them the actual answer. I'm telling them exactly how it is, and then that whole process that when I fly back to England and all the emails or whatever messages from that, I'm part of that whole chain, so they feel confident that what I've said is what it is. And then when they turn up, I'll be there at the airport. Like say if they're flying to Bermuda, I'll be there waiting at the airport with my team to pick them up, or when they get to school, I'll be there at the door. Just think that's a really important thing.
I completely agree. It all goes back to the lift experience. It's like me talking to you because I lived the experience, the boarding experience. I'm not just saying, oh yeah, please come to my interview. I don't know anything about school, no boarding, whatever. Talk to me. It's no, I actually lived it, and I feel like there's an interesting conversation that we can.
And I'm sure lots of schools do their own version of that, but I just think for the context of our environment, that's just been a really good selling point for us. I appreciate different schools have different models of how to do that, but yeah, that's been a really good thing for us.
So Sexy School must keep you then, Tim.
It could be anyone, as long as someone does that journey, for sure. I think it's an important part, yeah.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Tim, for sharing all your knowledge, and I'm pretty sure somebody will be listening at state boarding or even independent boarding to take away some of your tips and applying it to their school, which is what my podcast is about. It's about schools, innovation, and entrepreneurship. So we have spoken about a mix of that, and I'm sure loads of people are going to benefit from it. Not just the school itself, obviously, but the pupils, because of your policies that you just mentioned, that hopefully will benefit somebody in Dallin or somebody at another independent school, right? So yeah, hopefully.
Hopefully so. I just think that I think people just need to be a bit more flexible and a bit more diverse of what they offer. I think the days of I can only speak from experience. So my daughter went to the school down the road here that closed, and I just think they thought they'd be fine. People will just join. They don't need to change. They don't need to develop because they've been open for hundreds of years. People will just join and they'll be fine. But they didn't, and they closed. I just think we just need to be a bit more, pragmatic about it. That we need to, develop and everything we do, we need to be on the
toes, kind of, right?
Yeah. Forward thinking. What can we do next? I want to be that school that does things first. I don't want to be the person that just, oh yeah, look what they did. Why don't we follow that? I want us to be the people that people follow and go, yeah, God, look what Sexy is doing. That's really great. I just, I really value that we're at the forefront of that.
Has your daughter joined Sexy School after the other one?
Yeah, she did. Yeah.
No choice. I have to be under my be with my dad all day.
Well, it was free, so it's a lot easier, isn't it?
Okay. It's an easy choice.
Yeah.
Great. So, thank you so much, Tim. Honestly, if you want to invite me to one of these talks, I'll hop on the plane and I'm going. Right?
Yeah, we'd love that. So, for sure.
It's on record. So yeah, thank you. And yeah, you have my LinkedIn, and I can even give you my WhatsApp, so you can always reach out for anything you want. Honestly, I'm here to help. Ideas.
Brilliant.
And stuff. So yeah,
Polo, it's been a real pleasure. Thanks so much for having me on.
Thank you for your time.